Obafemi Martins, how good is he playing MLS Player of the Week? Just your thoughts on what he did in New York City.
Well, it was fantastic. I mean, he did well. Obviously, he finished his goals really well. The timing of his run and the pass by Marco and goal number one, and just the whole team combination on the third goal, and basically almost a no-look flick by Dempsey, putting him into space, but over reading it and then finishing it. The fans in Seattle are very fortunate. They're watching two very special players, and Oba's been very special as well. And right now he's got 6 goals. I think it's his best scoring rate that he's ever had, probably.
Obviously, it takes an entire team, but those two in particular are playing well together. Has there been something that just having the full preseason together, or what? Anything you attribute?
No, I just think it's a continuation of last year, and so forth. I think certainly the first season where Dempsey came in, mid-season was a little bit harder, for them to understand each other, get to know each other. Last year was even maybe a little slower start as we went into the season because Dempsey wasn't here for preseason, and then the World Cup interrupted it in between. And so hopefully this year, the Gold Cup is going to be a smaller interruption, and they'll be able to continue this form all the way through.
How much do you nudge those guys, push them, hey, maybe you guys should work on this, or is it mostly their own motivation to just get better and play better together?
It's like I said after the game, they conjure up stuff. It's not stuff that you can naturally work on or create. It's very imaginative and, almost like street ball, to a certain extent. But Ante Razov, I think, has done a good job as well. He's sort of, what he did is he sort of observed them a little bit, and then there's been a few times, maybe once a week, where he'll do something with the two of them, but it'll really be a shooting exercise that's more geared for the two of them based upon the kind of movements he sees them doing in the game. And is one of the reasons we brought Ante in when we knew Ezra was going to coach S2. We wanted to have an assistant coach who was, came from a forward background, and he's been very good with them. But he's really allowed them to sort of dictate to him what works. Which is, I think, a smart thing for a coach to do.
Before that backheel flip, there's a sequence of just some incredible passing going on, some unselfish play. Just your thoughts as a coach, a manager of a club, is that as good as it gets right there when the guys are just working together as one?
Yeah, definitely. Our movement of the ball is getting better and better. Our understanding, Ozzy missed the beginning of the year. Now he's back in there, so guys are getting used to him again. Dylan Remick's sort of a new body. He's now getting used to where people are, so he's connecting more passes. It was a great honor for him to get into Team of the Week this week for MLS. Tyrone Mears' passing has been very good. It all started with Pineda relocating the free kick instead of dumping it in. Sometimes if we take a quick free kick from there, we're not the tallest team up front, so it makes more sense for us to keep possession. That was something we talked about, and Gonzo's a smart enough player to recognize it, and so his was the first pass of that, I think, 18-pass sequence. So, it was just a good goal to score. It was a good team goal, but, you got to take what the game gives you. They came at us early on. They were the better team in the first 20 minutes. We absorbed that punishment a little bit. Maybe we were Mayweather there, just hanging back, making sure we didn't get hit, and then after that, we got the goal, and then we got into the game. We found our spaces to counter and attack, and then when you really look at it, we had a number of good looks. Papa had a really good chance. Nagel had a good chance coming in. Rose had a good opportunity. We had a number of good looks.
I think people would say you're more entertaining than Mayweather, but that's just.
Yeah, but he makes more money.
3 wins in a row. Are you guys having as much fun as it looks like right now?
Winning always makes everybody, come with a smile on their face when they come to work. So that's always a great thing to have. So I think the guys are really enjoying it. I think the win in New York was a nice win from a number of perspectives. That's a long travel day to get there. Getting to practice the day that we trained there was an ordeal. I mean, it took us like an hour and 20 minutes, and it was an ordeal to get to practice. It was an ordeal to get back from practice. You're right in the middle, not far from Times Square. There's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of things that could go wrong, And at the end of the day, I thought the guys maintained their focus, went out on the field and took care of the business at hand, which is a good thing for our team.
What was your thinking, both with the lineup and then the performance on your outside midfielders?
Just we want to, come with Andy Rose a little bit because we think he's been playing well and we know he can play wide right there. Lamar had a very good game in Colorado, had a good game in LA, but, has not always been at his best this season. So we felt, okay, we'll start Papa and bring Lamar off the bench this one. Could change going into the next game. I don't know. But that's one. So, I think we have a number of quality players there who can play. And we're going to, sometimes make choices based upon our players' form or based upon the opponent, and what we see from them.
What do you think of Stephen Fry's aggressiveness in goal this year compared to last year? Is that something you emphasize this year, or is it just something evolutionary on his part?
It's just confidence, it's tough to, when a guy hasn't played in a while and then been relegated to the second keeper and maybe feels a little unfairly relegated, sometimes it takes you a little while to get your confidence, and then goalkeeping is all about timing. You can do all kinds of things at practice, but you can't, stick 9 guys over there so it can replicate what it means or what it's like coming for a cross in a game or coming from a corner in a game. And so, getting those game reps in makes a big difference. You try and replicate as much as you can in training. But for him, I think it's just been confidence. I think our decision to stick with him last year has proven itself to be the correct one. And, hopefully he'll continue to play in this form.
Did you know he was capable of doing what he's doing when you stuck with him last year?
Every player I've ever brought to any team that I've coached on, you feel can do it. Sometimes they end up not doing it. Sometimes you make a mistake as a coach. Sometimes you get them right. And this is one we got right. But I've always, my history with Stefan, I first became aware of Stefan way back in 2004, into 2004. And, and so I knew he was still in high school, I think, at that time. And so I sort of followed his career, since then. And it was always somebody that I felt could be a good goalkeeper, and he's done well this year.
MLS at least publicized the roster rules and regulations last week. Was there anything in that kind of you think will be relevant to how y'all can build going forward? And particularly, did a relatively big market club like this kind of wish the salary cap would have gone up more than it apparently did?
Yeah, obviously that was part of a negotiation and everything else with the union. So cap-wise, those are decisions again that that the competition committee makes in conjunction with their negotiations with the union. I think for the growth of the league, the cap needs to grow. Is it growing fast enough? I don't know. Sometimes there's different mechanisms that affect the cap. Allocation dollars and things like that. So that's technically not part of the salary cap. But if somebody gives you $500,000 in allocation, effectively has raised your cap by $500,000. So if you're a new team coming in the league, you're going to get allocation money. If you don't make the playoffs, you're going to get allocation money. So there are mechanisms that do raise the cap, and make it more palatable. But I think our league is growing. I think everybody wants to make sure it doesn't get to a stage where it becomes a situation that owners don't want to invest anymore or buy franchises, and that it's not the stage we're at. We're having people that are interested and eager to come into our league, so that's important. But we also need to, if we want to achieve the things of becoming the Champions League champion in our region, becoming the dominant league in our region, becoming one of the world's top leagues, the cap's going to have to expand at a rate that, there's smarter people looking at that than me, probably.
Keyword. Mansouri back from the U18s. What does that time with camp provide the young players?
Well, it's just good opportunities. Anytime you can play internationally, they played Bosnia twice, I think, and then I forget who the third game was against, but they had 3 internationals, and traveling abroad, just opens up your horizons, your perspectives, and, competition. He started 2 of the 3 games, so those are good things for him as well. And he's still a young player. He's continuing to grow and develop, and, his real goal is, that next under 20 team, and we're happy to have him with our club. And, he's gotten some minutes already with the first team. He's got to continue to get minutes with S2, and continue to grow and develop. But it's always a good experience. You always come back a better player from it.
How has it affected him as a player then?
Hey, it's tough. It's only one practice that I saw, so it's not like all of a sudden there's this light switch that goes on. You just, you hopefully, he's hearing stuff from their coaching staff that's maybe similar to some of the stuff he's hearing from us, but more so than anything, the game is the ultimate teacher. And so you get into the game and you're playing against a player who's maybe a little more experienced than you, and now he does something to you that you hadn't seen before or gets away with something. You're like, oh, okay. Either I can add that to my bag of tricks, or I got to be prepared for that the next time. So the game's the best teacher. And every time you get into a game and you get into a good game and a competitive game and a quality game, you're going to learn.
What are you expecting this Saturday from Columbus?
Obviously they're a team that's going to be hungry because they've played well and gotten off to a good start. They were disappointed in their last result at DC for sure. They're a team that, more so than any team in the league, I think really sticks to their style of play in terms of playing their 4-2-3-1, and in terms of how they build and push their outside backs up and their center backs wide, and they're really committed to building out of the back, even against pressure. So it's going to be a game where we have to be very alert defensively, have to be very good defensively, and have to be very good about taking our opportunities at the other end of the field.